6 years have passed since the music world bid farewell to the legendary Chuck Berry, but recent news has stirred the air with fresh confirmations from his family. The iconic rock and roll pioneer, known for his electrifying guitar riffs and energetic performances, left an indelible mark on the history of music. Chuck Berry's influence resonates in countless hits like Johnny B. Good and Roll Over Beethoven, shaping the very essence of rock music. The confirmation of his passing comes as a poignant reminder of his enduring legacy. Berry's innovative style and catchy tunes not only defined an era, but also paved the way for countless musicians who followed in his footsteps. The news of his death sent shockwaves through the industry in 2017, and now, with the family's confirmation, the music community is taking a moment to reflect on the immense impact he had. Chuck Berry's unique blend of rhythm and blues, coupled with his charismatic stage presence, made him a true trailblazer. His guitar prowess and distinctive duck walk became synonymous with the spirit of rock and roll. The announcement from his family rekindles memories of a musical maestro, whose contributions continue to echo through generations. As fans and admirers revisit his extensive discography, the confirmation of Chuck Berry's passing invites a collective appreciation of his enduring influence. While the sadness of his absence remains, the celebration of his musical genius serves as a testament to the timeless power of his art. Piece by piece, we'll peel back the layers of Berry's existence, immersing into the controversies that have forever etched his name into history, while simultaneously embracing the impact he made on the music industry. So, fasten your seatbelts as we embark on a time-traveling, music-infused journey to uncover the enigma that is Chuck Berry. In the heart of St. Louis, Missouri, on October 18, 1926, a musical legend began his journey. Chuck Berry, a name that would resonate through the ages, emerged from humble beginnings to become a trailblazer in the world of rock and roll. This is a journey into the early rhythms of a man whose guitar licks would shape the very essence of a genre. However, his life was about to take a dramatic turn when he crossed paths with the legendary Muddy Waters. Waters recognized the budding talent in Chuck and urged him to pursue his own distinctive musical path. With this newfound encouragement, Chuck's groundbreaking guitar style began to take form. By blending bluesy riffs with catchy melodies, he crafted a style all his own. Born as Charles Edward Anderson Berry, Chuck spent his formative years in a racially divided America. The challenges of segregation were an ever-present backdrop to his childhood. Despite the obstacles, young Chuck found solace in the vibrant world of music that surrounded him. His first encounters with gospel, blues, and rhythm and blues would sow the seeds of his future musical brilliance. As a teenager, his life also took another musical turn when he picked up the guitar. Influenced by the likes of T-Bone Walker and Charlie Christian, he began crafting a unique style that blended bluesy licks with a distinctive rhythm. The guitar became Chuck's voice, a means to express the emotions and stories that resonated within him. Chuck's early performances in local venues hinted at the birth of something extraordinary. The sounds he coaxed from his guitar were a fusion of influences, creating a rhythm that was both infectious and groundbreaking. It was in these small clubs and on the streets of the Ville neighborhood that Chuck Berry's musical vision began to take shape. In 1955, Chuck's destiny intersected with Leonard Chess, the founder of Chess Records. This meeting would prove pivotal in launching Berry's career. His first single, Maybellene, hit the airwaves like a sonic revolution. The track, with its driving beat and storytelling lyrics, showcased Chuck's ability to speak to the experiences of a generation. Maybellene wasn't just a hit, it was a crossover success. It transcended racial barriers, resonating with both black and white audiences. Chuck Berry's music became a unifying force in a time when racial tensions were high. The infectious energy of his performances and the relatable narratives of his songs spoke to a diverse America. Chuck's songwriting was a key element of his early success. He crafted tales of teenage life, cars, and the pursuit of the American dream. Roll Over Beethoven, School Days, and Sweet Little 16 became anthems of a youth culture eager for a voice that echoed their experiences. The birth of a rock and roll icon was not a straightforward tale of triumph. It was a story of talent, ambition, controversies, setbacks, and, ultimately, a journey that would take Chuck to the heights of musical stardom and the depths of legal turmoil. The Mann Act violation, a legal debacle that shadowed Berry's career, stemmed from an incident in 1959. Transporting a 14-year-old girl across state lines for a musical performance led to accusations of violating this federal law intended to combat immoral activities. The legal quandary unfolded as Berry's personal choices faced intense scrutiny in the public eye. The ensuing legal battle was a tumultuous period for Berry. Accusations of violating the Mann Act led to a courtroom drama that would shape the trajectory of his life. In 1961, Berry's conviction marked a discordant note in the symphony of his early successes. The legal shadows darkened, threatening to eclipse the vibrant chords of his music. Berry's conviction resulted in imprisonment, serving 18 months of a 3-year sentence. The echoes of a broken melody reverberated as he navigated the harsh reality of life behind bars. During his time in prison, he did more than continue to perform. He embarked on a mission to share his perspective and reclaim his narrative. The singer's incarceration did not stifle his creativity. Quite the contrary. It was during this period that he penned some of his most enduring classics, including No Particular Place to Go. But his mission extended beyond the music. He had a story to tell, a narrative to reshape. The Mann Act incident and subsequent legal proceedings left an indelible stain on Chuck Berry's reputation. The charismatic performer, known for his energetic stage presence and groundbreaking musical innovations, now faced public scrutiny. The dissonance between the rebellious spirit of his music and the legal shadows that engulfed him created a complex narrative, challenging the perceptions of an artist whose impact on rock and roll was seismic. Chuck published his autobiography, Chuck Berry, The Autobiography. This bold endeavor aimed to shed light on the controversies that had shadowed him for decades. The book was his attempt to address the Mann Act charges and his time behind bars, offering his side of the story. The autobiography allowed him to rewrite his own narrative to present himself as a man who had faced adversity and emerged stronger. However, it also raised complex questions about accountability, redemption, and the enduring impact of one's actions. The book was a revelation, offering readers an intimate glimpse into the mind of a musical genius. Chuck shared his early memories, his inspirations, and the joys and struggles of his life. His writing was imbued with the same wit and charm that had characterized his songs. As a storyteller, he was as captivating on the page as he was on stage. Moreover, the autobiography provided a counterpoint to the public perception of his legal troubles. He offered a different perspective on the Mann Act charges, describing the events leading up to his arrest and trial from his point of view. He argued that his relationship with Janice Escalante was consensual and that he had been unfairly targeted. The publication of the autobiography ignited a fresh wave of discussions about Chuck's legacy. Critics and fans alike grappled with the question of whether his storytelling could truly absolve him of his past actions. Some embraced his narrative, while others remained skeptical. The autobiography delved into Berry's musical journey, offering insights into his creative process and the origins of his iconic songs. He shared anecdotes about his collaborations with fellow musicians and the moments of inspiration that had given birth to some of his most celebrated tracks. Yet, the book also raised questions that continue to resonate. Can a compelling narrative absolve a public figure of their past transgressions? How do we reconcile an artist's work with their personal life, especially when the two are intertwined? Ultimately, Chuck's autobiography serves as a testament to the enduring power of storytelling to shape our understanding of the past. It's a chapter in his life that reminds the world of the complexities of fame, redemption, and the enduring quest for self-expression. Beyond the Mann Act incident, Chuck Berry's legal shadows extended to financial struggles and different legal battles, which includes the 1987 assault. Berry was charged with assaulting a woman at New York's Gramercy Park Hotel. He was accused of causing lacerations of the mouth, requiring 5 stitches, 2 loose teeth, and contusions of the face. He pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of harassment and paid a $250 fine. In 1990, he was sued by several women who claimed that he had installed a video camera in the bathroom of his restaurant. Berry claimed that he had had the camera installed to catch a worker who was suspected of stealing from the restaurant. Although his guilt was never proven in court, Berry opted for a class action settlement. One of his biographers, Bruce Pegg, estimated that it cost Berry over $1.2 million plus legal fees. His lawyers said he had been the victim of a conspiracy to profit from his wealth. During this time, Berry began using Wayne T. Schoenberg as his legal counsel. Reportedly, a police raid on his house found intimate videotapes of women, one of whom was apparently a minor. Also found in the raid were 62 grams of marijuana. Felony drug and child abuse charges were filed. The child abuse charges were eventually dropped, and Berry agreed to plead guilty to misdemeanor possession of marijuana. He was given a 6-month suspended jail sentence, placed on 2 years unsupervised probation, and was ordered to donate $5,000 to a local hospital. Later videos Berry recorded of himself urinating on a woman and another of her defecating on him would surface. As the years passed, the Mann Act incident and the different legal battles he faced, its aftermath became layers in the rich tapestry of Chuck Berry's legacy. The legal shadows that once threatened to dim the brilliance of his early successes became integral chapters in the narrative of a man whose influence on rock and roll transcended the complexities of his life. Scholars and fans alike reflected on the intricate interplay between legal adversity and creative triumph that defined the life of a musical maestro. Despite the legal battles Berry faced, which underscored the multifaceted nature of his journey, intertwined with the rhythms of creativity, Berry released No Particular Place to Go, a song that not only climbed the charts, but also served as a symbolic anthem for his renewed freedom. The lyrics resonated with the challenges Berry had faced, capturing the essence of a man who had navigated legal obstacles and emerged with a renewed sense of purpose. The same year witnessed the release of You Never Can Tell, a track that became an instant hit and showcased Berry's ability to craft infectious tunes. Its energetic rhythm and narrative lyrics underscored Berry's return to form, signaling a resurgence that extended beyond the recording studio and onto the dance floors of the world. Chuck Berry's live performances during this period were nothing short of legendary. His charisma, guitar virtuosity, and dynamic stage presence captivated audiences. The iconic duck walk and the unmistakable twang of his guitar became emblematic of a musician who had overcome personal and legal hurdles, reaffirming his place as a rock and roll pioneer. Reconnecting with Chess Records, Berry continued to produce hits that resonated with audiences. Songs like Nadine and Promised Land showcased his storytelling prowess and contributed to his sustained success. The partnership with Chess Records solidified Berry's position in the ever-evolving landscape of rock and roll. Chuck Berry's triumphant return had a profound impact on the cultural zeitgeist of the 1960s. His music influenced a new generation of artists, including the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, who openly acknowledged Berry's contributions to the evolving sound of rock. The ripple effect of his comeback reverberated through subsequent decades, shaping the trajectory of popular music. In 1987, Berry's contributions were celebrated in the documentary Hail, Hail, Rock and Roll. The film, capturing the preparation for a star-studded tribute concert, not only showcased Berry's enduring talent, but also underscored the respect and admiration he commanded from fellow musicians. The documentary became a testament to Barry's lasting influence on the world of music. Barry was bestowed with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, honoring his exceptional contributions to the recording industry. This prestigious accolade recognized Barry's enduring influence and his role in shaping the landscape of popular music. And despite everything, Chuck's influence on the music industry was profound and undeniable. He was a trailblazer who left an indelible mark on rock and roll. But was he truly the lone genius that history portrays him to be? However, Chuck's music did not exist in isolation. He drew inspiration from a diverse range of influences, including blues, country, and rhythm and blues. His partnership with Johnny Johnson, his pianist, played a pivotal role in shaping his unique sound. This collaboration underscored the communal nature of music. His guitar playing was a defining feature of his music. His sharp rhythmic riffs and intricate solos were a sonic signature that resonated with audiences worldwide. Songs like Johnny Be Good and Roll Over Beethoven showcased his virtuosity on the instrument. Yet Chuck's guitar style did not emerge fully formed. It evolved through years of experimentation and refinement. He was influenced by blues guitarists like T-Bone Walker and jazz musicians like Louis Jordan. By melding these influences with his own distinctive touch, Chuck forged a new sound that would define an era. His stage presence was a vital component of his success. His high-energy performances, complete with his famous duck walk across the stage, captivated audiences. He had an innate ability to connect with the crowd, creating an electric atmosphere at his concerts. It is important to remember that Chuck's on-stage persona was not a one-man show. He often performed with a backing band, and his collaboration with Johnny Johnson, in particular, was pivotal. Johnson's piano playing complemented Barry's guitar work, creating a dynamic interplay of musical elements. While he was undoubtedly the driving force behind his songs, Chuck's ability to surround himself with talented musicians enhanced the richness of his sound. It challenges the notion of the solitary genius and highlights the contributions of those who played alongside him. His impact extended beyond his own recordings. He served as a musical inspiration to countless artists who followed in his footsteps. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Elvis Presley all acknowledged his influence and covered his songs. Barry's music became a bridge between generations. It resonated with both teenagers and their parents, transcending age and race. It was a unifying force in a time of social change. His influence on the cultural landscape of music is an indelible mark that transcends generations. Emerging in the 1950s, Barry not only shaped the sound of rock and roll, but also left an imprint on the cultural and social dynamics of the time. His innovative guitar playing, characterized by his distinctive licks and energetic rhythms, revolutionized the music scene. His fusion of blues, country, and rhythm and blues elements created a signature sound that defined the nascent genre of rock and roll. Barry's guitar mastery set a new standard, influencing countless musicians who sought to emulate his dynamic style. Chuck Berry's legacy extends beyond music into the fabric of popular culture. His songs have been featured in numerous films, commercials, and television shows, continually reintroducing his music to new audiences. The enduring resonance of Barry's work is evident in its continuous presence in the cultural landscape, reaffirming his status as a cultural touchstone. Ultimately, Chuck's legacy is a multifaceted tapestry, a narrative of a man who forever changed the music landscape. His story reminds us that even legends are human, and their lives are often a complex interplay of light and shadow. It challenges us to appreciate the artistry and innovation while acknowledging the imperfections and complexities of the artists we admire. Even today, Chuck Berry's influence on the music world cannot be overstated. His songs, characterized by infectious rhythms and clever lyrics, captured the essence of youth, rebellion, and the American dream. Tracks such as Roll Over Beethoven and Johnny Be Good became anthems for generations and beyond. Chuck possessed a unique ability to bridge generational divides. His songwriting prowess was equally impressive. He crafted narratives that resonated with the experiences of everyday people, providing a snapshot of American life. His songs told stories of teenage romance, fast cars, and the pursuit of freedom. Chuck Berry's music was a beacon of rebellion and freedom in a changing America. In an era of social upheaval and cultural transformation, his songs provided a soundtrack for a generation eager to break free from the constraints of the past. Johnny B. Goode, with its legendary guitar riff, became an anthem of youthful aspiration and defiance. His music was not confined to the United States. It crossed oceans and continents, resonating with audiences around the world. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and other British invasion bands were heavily influenced by his work. His songs found new life in the hands of these artists, contributing to the global spread of rock and roll. Chuck's songs transcended genres, finding their way into the repertoires of artists as diverse as Bruce Springsteen and Elvis Presley. His music was a unifying force, bridging divides through the universal language of rhythm and melody. The Beatles, one of the most iconic bands in history, were unabashed fans of Chuck Berry. They covered his songs, such as Roll Over Beethoven and rock and roll music, infusing them with their own distinctive style. John Lennon once famously said, "If you tried to give rock and roll another name, you might call it Chuck Berry." The Rolling Stones, another legendary British band, also paid tribute to Chuck. Their rendition of Carol captured the raw energy and excitement of his music. Mick Jagger's dynamic stage presence and Keith Richards' guitar prowess were heavily influenced by Chuck's style as well. Bruce Springsteen, known as The Boss, openly acknowledged Chuck's impact on his music. Springsteen's high-energy performances and storytelling lyrics drew inspiration from the rock and roll pioneer. He often included Chuck covers in his live shows, keeping the spirit of the legend's music alive. Elvis Presley, often referred to as the king of rock and roll, recognized Chuck's contributions to the genre. Elvis covered Berry's songs and shared a mutual admiration with him. Their parallel careers underscored the transformative power of rock and roll. Chuck's songs were not confined to the rock genre. Artists in various musical realms found resonance in his music. Blues musicians, jazz bands, and even country artists incorporated elements of his style into their performances. His ability to transcend genres demonstrated the universality of his music. His influence extended beyond American borders. His songs reached international audiences, inspiring musicians around the world. Even today, his songs continue to be a source of joy, inspiration, and celebration, reminding us that the spirit of rock and roll lives on in the hearts and voices of those who carry his legacy forward. Chuck Berry's final studio album, Chuck, released in 2017, made the music world bid farewell to a true legend. This poignant musical offering marked the culmination of a career that spanned over 6 decades, leaving an indelible legacy that resonates far beyond the final chords of this farewell album. Chuck was more than just a collection of songs. It was a musical testament to Berry's enduring spirit and unwavering dedication to his craft. Recorded in the twilight of his life, the album showcased the timeless energy and wit that had defined Berry's journey as a pioneer of rock and roll. Each track was a sonic journey, weaving together elements of blues, rock, and the distinctive Chuck Berry guitar riffs that had become synonymous with the very essence of the genre. The album featured a mix of new compositions and reimaginings of some of Berry's classic hits, creating a harmonious blend of nostalgia and fresh creativity. Songs like Big Boys and Wonderful Woman encapsulated the vibrant, storytelling style that had made Berry a revered figure in the music world. His guitar playing, still sharp and dynamic, resonated with the same fervor that had ignited the rock and roll revolution in the 1950s. The release of Chuck was a bittersweet moment, as it coincided with Berry's passing later that year. While the album became a posthumous farewell, It also reaffirmed Berry's lasting impact on the musical landscape. His legacy was not confined to the past. It continued to evolve with each note and lyric on Chuck. The album served as a poignant reminder of Berry's influence on subsequent generations of musicians. His guitar riffs echoed in the work of countless artists who had been inspired by his groundbreaking sound. The storytelling prowess that characterized his lyrics became a blueprint for songwriters seeking to capture the essence of the human experience. In essence, Chuck was not just a final studio album. It was a closing chapter in the musical odyssey of a true pioneer. Chuck Berry's legacy, as exemplified by this last musical offering, lives on through the enduring resonance of his chords and the profound impact he had on the ever-evolving soundscape of rock and roll. With Chuck, the legendary musician bid farewell, leaving behind not just an album, but a timeless testament to his unparalleled contributions to the world of music. Chuck Berry, the undisputed pioneer of rock and roll, departed this world in 2017, leaving behind a void in the music industry that resonated far beyond the notes of his iconic guitar riffs. His death marked not just the end of a singular life, but a profound shift in the rhythm of the music world, where Berry's resonating chords had become synonymous with the rebellious spirit and boundless energy of rock and roll. When Chuck Berry passed away on March 18, 2017, the music world mourned the loss of a true innovator. His death represented more than the end of a life. It signified the conclusion of an era in music. The sonic revolution he ignited in the 1950s had rippled through the decades, influencing genres, shaping cultural movements, and leaving an indelible mark on the way we experience and perceive music. In the wake of Berry's death, tributes poured in from around the globe. Fellow musicians, industry veterans, and fans alike paid homage to the man who had given rock and roll its heartbeat. The outpouring of respect underscored the universal impact of Berry's music, transcending boundaries of age, geography, and musical preference. The Beatles, one of the bands profoundly influenced by Berry, paid homage in their own way. In a tweet, Paul McCartney thanked Chuck Berry for inspiring the Beatles and recounted their experience of covering Berry's songs. It was a poignant reminder of how Berry's legacy had touched even those who would go on to become legends themselves. As the world bid farewell to this musical luminary, the impact of his passing went beyond the realm of mere mortality. It was a collective acknowledgement of the indelible mark he left on the very soul of popular music. When Chuck Berry's family confirmed his passing on the news, sent ripples through the music world. It wasn't just the end of an individual's life, it was the conclusion of an era. Berry's influence, often encapsulated in the twang of his Gibson ES-335, had resonated through decades, shaping the sonic landscape and inspiring generations of musicians. In the digital age, Chuck Berry's music found a new lease of life through streaming platforms. His songs, once confined to vinyl records and cassette tapes, now had a global reach, introducing a new generation to the infectious rhythms and rebellious spirit of rock and roll. Berry's impact was not confined to his lifetime. It continued to reverberate through the virtual realms of cyberspace. Beyond the realm of music, Berry's legacy permeated film and television. His songs became soundtracks for movies and TV shows, reintroducing his music to audiences who may not have experienced the original rock and roll revolution. The timeless quality of his work ensured its relevance in various cultural mediums. While celebrating Chuck Berry's musical legacy, it's essential to acknowledge the complexity of his story. The legal troubles of 1959 and other aspects of his personal life added layers of nuance to the narrative. It prompts a reflection on the intricate relationship between an artist's life and their art, and how the shadows can coexist with the brilliance of their creative contributions. Chuck Berry's impact wasn't confined to recorded albums. It extended to the electrifying energy of live performances. His dynamic stage presence, complete with the iconic duck walk, became a blueprint for showmanship. The echoes of Barry's performances reverberated in the stagecraft of subsequent rock and roll legends, ensuring that his influence lived on in every guitar solo and every crowd-engaging gesture. Chuck Berry's passing was not just a moment of mourning, but a celebration of a musical legacy unparalleled. His family's confirmation of his death became an opportunity to reflect on the profound influence of an artist who had dared to challenge conventions and redefine the very essence of music. As farewell was bidded to this architect of rock and roll, we do so not with sorrow, but with a deep appreciation for the enduring resonance of Chuck Berry's melodies, an eternal tribute to a life lived in the key of rock and roll. His death marked the end of a life, but not the end of his influence. His sonic resonance continues to shape the landscape of popular music. The impact of his death was not a somber silence, but a crescendo of appreciation for the man who gave us the gift of rock and roll. As we reflect on his legacy, we are reminded that the rhythms he introduced to the world will forever reverberate, ensuring that Chuck Berry's place in the pantheon of musical pioneers remains eternal. Tribute to Chuck Berry made us recognize that his resonance is undying. The chords he struck, the stories he told, and the rebellious spirit he embodied continue to echo through the corridors of musical history. The impact of his death wasn't a silence, but a continuation of the vibrant melody he had initiated, the everlasting anthem of rock and roll. His impact extends beyond mortality. It's an everlasting riff in the composition of popular music. His songs aren't just melodies, they're time capsules, carrying the spirit of rebellion and the rhythm of a bygone era. As the music world acknowledged his departure, it did so not with tears but with a collective nod to the enduring resonance of a true pioneer. In this moment of reflection, we honor the man who forever changed the landscape of popular music, leaving an everlasting imprint on the hearts of music lovers worldwide. And that's it from us today until next time. Thank you for watching.